But I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have hopefully a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am, I will say. There's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe New York. And congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
We had discussions on some things. I'm not going to discuss what they were, but that I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he's going to be. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually, and some very liberal people. He won't surprise them because they already like him.
There was a hell of a lot of expectation and anticipation for this meeting. Huge media contingent turned up, but it ended up being quite extraordinary. And in a way, they both now are locked into the cause, or wanting to be seen to be pushing the cause of affordability. Zoran Mamdani, who declares himself to be a democratic socialist, walked into the White House having won New York City, which is Donald Trump's hometown, and for which Donald Trump has a huge affection. And he even said himself, Donald Trump, at one point, I thought of being mayor of New York and it's a big deal. But it was quite extraordinary given what they'd said about each other in the past. And in a way, it's about the skills of the two men. They're sort of mirror images of each other in a way, on the one on the right and one on the left. And they both are fairly uncompromising. They both take on their own organisations and parties. And at one point, a journalist said to Zoran Mamdani, you described this man sitting next to you, the president, as a fascist. Do you stand by that? And Zoran Mamdani began to try to sort of explain it in a diplomatic way, and Donald Trump reached out to him and said, look, that's okay, just say yes, it's easier. It's easier than explaining it, I don't mind, and laughed. You know, I don't think I've seen anything quite like the chemistry between these two men. It was turned in from what was going to be a world champion title fight to a political love fest.
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? I do wonder whether, and I've read several profiles on Mr. Trump, and he does seem to enjoy this sort of back and forth and sort of argument with people, and if you push back on him, he actually would respect you. That's just what I've read on some of the profiles. But just President Trump had threatened to cut off federal funding to New York because of Mamdani's victory. Can he do that?
Well, there are certain federal expenditures that are discretionary that the White House can affect, and others they can't. But I think you're right, Fauzier, about the respecting somebody. I think if Donald Trump senses a weakness or a vulnerability in somebody, he often goes in for the political kill. And I think what he saw with Zoran Mamdani is, you know, 8.5 million people, America's largest city, has just overwhelmingly elected him. And I think Zoran Mamdani hasn't taken a step back from that. In fact, in his acceptance speech on the night of the election, he directly addressed President Trump and said, I have 4 words for you. Turn up the volume. I have a message for you. You know, we will not be intimidated by you. Donald Trump said today that he was surprised at how many areas the two men agreed on, and that included the need to tackle crime in New York City, to get rents down. Donald Trump said he agreed with Zoran Mamdani on that. And on the housing affordability and general groceries and cost of living. He did, however, there was one clear area of difference, and that is in terms of immigration, the so-called ICE agents going in and trying to detain undocumented migrants. Donald Trump said that's an area where we're not going to agree.
Okay, so John, Zoran Mamdani seems to have earned the respect from the US president, the Republican president, Donald Trump. But what about within his own party, within the Democrats? Is he the new young hope of the Democrats?
Well, the irony is that Chuck Schumer, who is, you know, said to be one of the senior Democrats here and has that position in Congress, he wouldn't even endorse, he wouldn't even say whether he voted for Zoran Mamdani. And so I think Donald Trump would get a real pleasure out of the fact that here is the conservative Republican president of the United States saying he thinks Zoran Mamdani will do a great job and be a great mayor. And yet Chuck Schumer and other leadership of the Democrats are scared and afraid to come out out and to endorse it. And again, Zoran Mamdani didn't back down today when he was asked about his description of what Israel's has done in Gaza as a genocide. And he said that, he stood by that, standing a metre from Donald Trump, whereas Chuck Schumer and others won't go anywhere near a description like that. So I think that Donald Trump's taking pleasure as well in boosting somebody that he knows many in the Democrats are really uncomfortable about.